with the assurance that have been built up on the same basis.
What's going on here?
Can be compared and considered with the assurance that the figures under each heading have been built up.
Hello.
I think this is the wrong class. This is the wrong class. Hello, sir. This is the wrong class.
Using the same, you can say, a common method of costing for different undertakings, different producers within the same industry. And here,
I think somebody need to talk to admin. Somebody need to talk to admin. This is the wrong class. And the guy that is taking this class is not even ready to listen to us. We are complaining that this is a wrong class, and he's not talking to us. He kept, or is it a recorded message are they giving us?
Yeah, good evening.
We pay for this class.
Hello.
We pay for this class, for God's sake.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening.
Hey,
hello. Good evening.
slow down. Is it Julius? Slow down. Why are you getting all worked up?
Volumes of output.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, it's definitely a mix-up, but you're getting one.
Hello. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Please, if you're not in this data analytics class, let me know. This one I'm hearing is a wrong class. Please, if you know you're not in the data analytics class, maybe you're doing any other program, or you just did not start with us. So this is the second week of us doing this class. In case for those that may be in the wrong class, let's know. So I want to believe we are all here. So are we all in the right place? Okay, okay. So okay, okay. So I'm sorry for being a bit late due to one or two things I was trying to set up. So that was why I was, I think, 6 minutes late. And it's so funny that I was just 6 minutes late and my class was already turning upside down. Somebody's already saying, okay, okay. I think I know, I now know where the issue was. I think somebody was maybe playing an audio or something that made people feel like maybe that was the wrong thing. Okay, so good evening all. So we're about to start now. So yesterday we started something around the logical functions. So we did the if, we did the ifs, and we also did the nested if. So I said today that we're going to start with so what did I say we'll start with today? I said we'll be starting the statistical functions. So I want to believe everybody here was in class yesterday. I want to believe everyone here was in class yesterday. There's nobody joining this class for the first time. Okay. So we are starting statistical function, and the first one we'll be looking at in the group of statistical functions is going to be the Countif. So there are a lot of statistical functions, but the first one we'll be looking at will be the Countif. Then we'll move to Countifs, now move to Sumif and Sumifs, and so on. Okay. So Countif. Well, first of all, so right now I'm about to share my screen so that we all can see my screen. Okay, so I want to believe everyone can see my screen now. Please, can we all see my screen? Okay. So I said today we're starting statistical functions. So we say in Microsoft Excel is a powerful tool for data analysis and manipulation. Its statistical functions are particularly useful for extracting meaningful insights from your data. So this presentation will delve into the core statistical functions that are widely used for a range of analytical tasks. So from basic calculations like sum and average to more advanced functions like standard deviation and variance. So we will explore each function's capabilities and how they can be applied in real-world scenarios. So I said the first one we'll be looking at would be the Countif function. So this is the first statistical function that we'll be looking at. So we say the Countif function counts cells within a range that meets a specific criterion. So it is useful for determining the number of occurrences of a particular value or condition in your data. So we say it counts cells that meet a particular criteria. So we use this one just to count cells, but now we count cells that meet a certain criteria. So the syntax is very simple. You just have equals to Countif, and then the next thing is you give it the range, and then you give it a criteria. You give your range, and then you give a criteria. It's as simple as that. Okay. So now I'll be moving on to our data set. So this data set, I have shared it in the group before the commencement of this class. So I want to believe everybody has this. I want to believe everybody has this. So did everybody see this? Because it was dropped in the group. Did everybody get this? Okay. Please, course outline. The person asking for course outline. I don't share course outline. Anything other than data set that I use in class, please reach out to the admins. They will help you sort that out. Course outline, LMS, your receipt, whatever does not concern what we are doing in class. Please, I don't do that. Just ask in the group. One of the admin will attend to you. But please, that is not my duty at all. Okay, so we're talking about Countif. And we say Countif counts cells, but we say the count cells that meets a given criteria. So Countif. So now we say when you use Countif, the syntax is simple. So if I say equals to Countif, you can see the syntax here is I just give it a range and I give it a criteria. So please let's take note. This counts cells. You remember when we did count A and count blank, we said count cells, but it counts only cells that contain numbers. We now say count A counts cells, but it counts only cells that are not empty. And then we say count blank counts cells, but it counts cells that are empty. Now, this is Countif. It also does count cells, but the difference now here is this one counts cells that meets a given criteria. So if I'm counting, I must give it a criteria for it to count. So for example, I have this data set that I dropped in the group. So this is a data set that contains the customers we've had to service in the past year. And then we have 500 customers on this data set. So if I scroll down here, you will see we have 500 customers on this data set, 500. Then out of these 500 customers, we have their customer number. So each customer has a unique number. You can see this is the customer number. Then we have their full name. This is the full name of the customers. Then we have their gender. Is the customer a male or a female? We have that here. Then we have the city the customer is from. So we have the city the customer is from. Then we now have the country they come from. So we have customers from different countries here. And then we have their phone number. We have the order date. So this is the date they order. Yes, it's appearing this way because I've not changed it to date format. If I should change this to date format, you will see the date. So this is the order date, the date they ordered. Then this is the product they ordered. So we have 10 different products we sell. product 1, product 2, product 3, product 4, product 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So 10 different products. And each of these customers ordered a unique product, as in ordered a particular product. So they all ordered different products, as you can see. So the product they ordered is what we have here. Then we have the quantity of that product that they ordered. So this is the quantity. Okay, so this is that. This is all of the information we have here. Now, in this county, we want to find out how many of these our customers are males and how many of them are females. We want to take account of that. So, of course, for us to do this, that means we need to count everything here under this gender. But now, we cannot just count everything like that. We need to count all the cells here, but ask Excel to return counts for only the cells that contain the gender female for us. So that is where you use something like this. And if you're counting male, the same thing. So your range becomes everything here, while your criteria becomes what you want it to count. So for example, now I have Countif here. So my range would be, I'll just tell it everything in this column is what I want to count. So everything there, that will be my range. I'll put comma. Then my criteria. So this criteria now is a value I want to give to it. So it has to be in double quote. Remember what we said yesterday, that anytime you're entering a value in Excel that is in a text format, it has to be in double quotation, open and close. So now I'll do that, open my double quote. So what am I looking for here? I want to count how many female that I have in that range. So now you can see it's simple as this. Give it a range, give it a criteria. So now if I close this and I hit enter, it's telling me here that I have 281 females. 281 females. That is what it is telling me. Okay, so now let's also do a count for male so that the person who did not get for female, you can see that for male. So equals to, this is Countif, and then my range is everything here under gender, comma, and then my criteria this time, I want to return the count for male. Close this, then close my bracket and hit enter. It's telling me I have 219 males. So let me add this up and see if it sums up to 500, because I know I have 500 customers there. So let's just say this plus this. So, okay, so you can see it sums up to 500. That means it is correct. So that is to tell us that I have 281 females and I have 219 males. How about if I want to count how many of my customers are from a particular country? Let's say I want to find out how many of my customers are from US. Yes, I can use count if too for that. So equals to count if, and then my range this time, I'm looking for how many of my customers are from US. So my range this time will be country, everything under country, comma, and then my criteria would be in double quotes, USA. That would be my criteria. And I'll close my bracket, and then I'll hit enter. So it's telling me here that I have 93 customers from the USA. 93 customers from USA. Okay, how about maybe let's try for Brazil. Let's see, equals to count if. So my range, this, comma, and then my criteria this time around, I'm looking for Brazil. And then close my bracket and I hit enter. So I have just 48 customers from Brazil and 93 from USA. Okay. So this is very basic. Yes, okay, maybe not too basic, but it's simple, sharp. It's not complex at all. So I want to believe we all understood what I just did. Okay, so I'm moving forward now. So now, the next one I'm moving to is Countifs. Countifs. So let me look at Countifs. So there's also another one called Countifs. So the Countifs allows you to count cells based on multiple criteria. So this is especially helpful for analyzing data sets with complex conditions, such as counting the number of cells that exceed a particular or a specific target and occurred in a particular month and all of that. So for the syntax here, you have criteria range 1, criteria range 2, criteria 2. So this one, that is just the format. So for Countifs now, you see that for all of these other ones we did, I had a range and my criteria has to be inside of that range. So I have a range, I have a criteria. What if maybe what I was looking for was different? Or maybe I want to find out, let's say, for example, I want to find out how many of my customers from USA are females. How many of my customers from USA are females? That's no longer just one criteria range or one range, because I'm looking for my customers that are females and that are from USA. Let's even, sometimes you could have as many criteria as possible. What if I now say, okay, how many of my customers are from the USA and bought product 1 from me and maybe bought on a particular month? So that is multiple criteria. I'm looking for the ones that are females and are from USA, and but maybe I'm looking for those ones that are females from USA, but let's say maybe product 1, and but maybe in a particular month, maybe just in the month of January. So those are multiple criteria, multiple conditions. So in that case, I can no longer make use of Countif. That is what now takes us to Countifs. So Countifs. So you use Countifs when you have multiple criteria that you're trying to make a return a count for. Multiple criteria that you're trying to return a count for. So for example, just like I said, I'm looking for my customers that are from USA that bought products, product 1, and then maybe in a particular date. Okay, let's even stop at the ones from USA that bought product 1. Females, USA, bought product 1. Who is this person drawing on my screen? Let me disable annotation for everyone so that will no longer be possible. Okay. You see, when you start annotating on my screen, you begin to drag me back. I have to start looking for how to clean it and all of that. Okay, so we are looking for females from USA that bought product 1. So we say equals to, so we are going to have Countifs. So now you see criteria range 1, and then you give it criteria. The other one was criteria range 1. The other Countif was criteria, was range and criteria. But for this one, it's asking you for criteria range 1, then criteria 1. So that is to show you that you could have as many criteria range as possible. As many criteria range as possible. Okay, so let's go on. So now remember I'm saying female customers that are from USA and bought product 1. So how many criteria range do we have there? How many? Let me be sure I'm not talking to myself. For the question, I just, okay. That means we are following. Okay, it's fine. It's okay. I can see everybody's following, that's fine. So we have 3 criteria range there because we are looking for the agenda, we are looking for the country, and we are looking for the product. So please, it's 3. Okay, so let's go on. So in this case now, what is going to happen here is going to be that our first criteria range, you can always start from anywhere. So there's no particular order that you must start. Of course, Excel knows what you're looking for. So I'm looking for female customers from USA that bought. So whether I start from product, I start from country, or I start from gender, it's still going to give me the same answer. Okay, so let me start from gender. So this is my criteria range 1. And in this criteria range, the criteria I'm looking for here is female. I'm looking for female. So I'll close this. I'm done with my criteria 1. So I'll hit my comma. Immediately it moves to criteria range 2. So what will be my criteria range 2? Let me choose country, comma. So what will be the criteria here? The criteria here is I'm only interested in my customers from USA. So I'll hit my comma again. It moves to criteria range 3. So the third one is product. So product here, comma. Then what product am I interested in? I'm looking for only those that bought product 1. So product 1. So now I'm done. So I'll just close my bracket and I'll hit enter. So you can see there, it's telling me that I have just 6 customers that meet all of these criteria. I have just 6 customers that are females and are from the USA and bought product 1 from me. 6 customers that are females that are from the USA and they bought product 1. So let's try for another product and see. Let's say now we are looking for product 2. So let's say we are looking for product 2 now. So for product 2, so let's see using the same criteria range. So here, what are we looking for here? We are still going with female. Still going with female for now. So the next one, we are going with country. The country here is USA, that we are looking for, comma. And then the last one, we are going with gender, product. And the products we are looking for here is product. Okay, we are now looking for product 2, right? Product 2. So let's close this and hit enter. So I have only 2 customers that are females and are from USA that bought product 2 from me. So you can see it's as simple as this. So this is not complex now. Or is it? Is it complex? I don't think it is. So it's just me returning counts, but counts for things that meet up different criteria. Okay, thank God. Everybody says no yes. Ah, somebody even said it's simpler than yesterday's one. Wow, that's good. Okay. Okay. So that is my mission here, is to make sure everything we do here is being simplified to the barest minimum. Yeah, permit me to use that word. Ah, somebody is still lost. MC Jones. Okay. So we'll get to question time when we get there. So please, if you're lost, just write down your question. When we get to question time, you can ask whatever question you have. This routine that you can barely hear me, I think it's from your end. It has nothing to do with me because I think I'm audible enough. Class, I'm audible, right? Everybody can hear me. Okay, so Ruti, you can see every other person can hear me very well. So it's from your end. Check your audio. Perhaps there's something wrong with your audio. Okay. So let's move on. Let's move on. So what's the next thing we have on our outline? So under statistical function, we've done countifs, So now we want to do some if and some ifs. Some if and some ifs. Okay. Let me see, do we still have some ifs, then average, average if, and average ifs. Okay. Okay, let me see if we can finish everything under this statistical function. That would be very good. Okay, so I think before I move to, okay, let's take some if and some ifs. Okay, so the sum if function, what is it used for? So we say the sum if function allows you to sum values in a range based on a single condition. So it is useful when you need to calculate the total of a specific subset of data. For example, you may want to sum the sales figure for a particular product or region. So the syntax is equals to sum if, then you have your range, you have the criteria, and you have the sum range. Okay. So this one is very simple, and it's also self-explanatory, I think. So this is what order statement means. Remember, everything we are doing around count if and Countifs is about counting. If you don't have this data set, it's in the group now. This very data set is in the group. So if you don't have it, the data set is in the group. I dropped it before our class. Okay, so now everything we are doing here, we are returning counts. What if we want to do a sum? For example, I want to find out how many of my customers, or no, the total quantity of products, let's say maybe total quantity of product one that I sold. So what was the total quantity of product one that I sold? What was the total quantity of product maybe two? What was the total quantity of product three? And so on and so forth. So for this one, you're summing. Everything around sum if and sum ifs is around summing. So you're summing. The difference now is for sum if, you're summing with just one criteria. But for sum ifs, you're summing with multiple criteria. For example, now, if I want to find out, let's say equals to, I want to know what's the total quantity I sold in general, the total quantity of everything that was sold. Now, I'm not even interested in the product. I just want to know the total quantity of everything I sold. So equals to sum if. So now I have range, I have criteria, and then I have sum range. I have range, I have criteria, I have sum range. Please, let's take note of this. I have range, I have criteria, I have sum range. So I could have my range and my criteria in the same place. But in a situation where my range and criteria is not where I want to sum from, then that would mean I'll need to have a sum range different. So in this instance, let's say I'm looking for, let's say the range now is this. Let me show us an example of what I'm saying. This is my range. Then the criteria of what I'm looking for here is, the criteria here is the total sum of all the quantity 30 that I sold. See here, I sold 30. Here, I sold 30. Here, I sold 30. So I want to sum all the 30 that I sold to know the total quantity of it. So that means my criteria is going to be 30, because that's the only thing I'm looking for here. I want to sum all the quantity 30 that I sold. So for this, I would now already, my sum, my criteria is also in my range, and that is also where I want to sum from. So in this scenario now, I'm going to ignore the sum range, because the sum range is already the range I'm looking for. So therefore, I will ignore this sum range. I will just close my bracket here, and then I'll hit enter. So it's telling me that this total sum of quantity 30 that was sold is 630. So if this is 630, what does this now show? This shows that I sold a total of 21 quantity 30. So now if I want to find out how true that is, I can now use count for that. So let's say I'm using count if, so my range is this, comma, and my criteria would be 30. My criteria would be 30. I close this. So if I hit enter, you see, it's showing me that I have a total of 21 cells that contain quantity 30. So 30 times 21 is what has given us this sum that we had here, 630. You can see, I just wanted to confirm that so that we can see. Okay, so now, there could also be a scenario where your sum range is different from the range you had your criteria from. So scenarios such as, now I want to find out what is the total quantity of product one that was sold. So now, if I'm doing that, that means sum if. So my range now would be product. This would be my range, comma. The criteria there would be product one. The criteria there would be product one. That's the total. I'm looking for the total quantity of product one that I sold. So criteria is product one. Now my sum range. So you see now I have my range, I have my criteria here, but this is not where I want to sum. What I want to sum is actually the quantity. So the quantity part becomes my sum range. You can see. So now I'll close my bracket and I'll hit enter. You see, this is now the total of product one that was sold. It showed me that I sold a total of 865 product one. This is the total quantity of product one that was sold, 865. I believe we can all see 865. That's the total quantity of product one that was sold, as we all can see. Okay, so I said for count, sum if is just one criteria. You can see just product one. What if I was also having multiple criteria? Total quantity of product one that was sold maybe to customers from US or to customers that were females. So that now gives me multiple criteria. So if I'm summing that, that means I would have to use sum ifs for that. So doing that equals to sum ifs. The sum ifs. Now I have, you see in sum ifs now, it starts with the sum range. What are you summing? So what we want to sum is quantity. This is our sum range. Okay, so now quantity, comma. Now, what is the criteria range one? Criteria range one, product one. So that's product. And then the criteria here is product one. Product one. That's the criteria. And then comma. And I also want to find out how many of that was bought by our females. So the next criteria range is gender. And here the criteria is female. Females. So close this, close my bracket, and hit enter. So you see, so of all these products, one, remember this is the total quantity of products one we sold. But for the ones that were bought by females, it's showing us that it is actually just 450. So that means if I were to do for males, it should be the leftover of what is here, which that should be 415. Let's see how true that is. So sum is, sum range is the quantity, comma. So criteria range one, so products. And the criteria here, we are looking for still product one. Product one, comma. And then this time we are looking for those that were the ones that were bought by males. So male, then close. So if I hit enter now, You can see it, 415. So if I add these two, it gives me 865, which was the total of product one. But now I'm looking for just the product one that was bought by females and the one that was bought by males. You can see the breakdown here. Okay. So I know we are boiling with questions. So I will now take questions before we move on to the next part, which is the average, averages, and Averageifs. Okay, so if you have a question, you're confused at any point, please can raise your hand now and I'll take your questions. Okay, so Alfred, you can unmute.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Okay, my question is on the syntax for Countifs. So on the arrangement, when the syntax for Countif, you start with the range, then criteria. And also for Countifs, there's a difference from the practical, what you did practically and what was in the syntax when you put the casa. So when you put the casa, you started with it says you start with criteria, but when you did practically, it's different. So I don't know why the difference there. I don't know whether you understand my question.
No, I don't. Sorry, can you come again?
Okay, maybe you can put the casa where you did the Countifs, so that we see the formula 281.
Countifs, right?
Okay. Okay, now from the syntax down there, we see its criteria, then range.
Okay.
But you choose, when you did it physically, you choose the range first.
This is Countifs.
Yes.
So the first thing you have here is the sum. So this here, let's see. So this is the first thing you have here is this Countifs? Wait, I'm coming.
Okay, when my question is, when you insert equals, then Countifs.
Okay.
The next thing you did
range 1, and then criteria 1, criteria range 2, criteria 2, and so on and so forth. So what's the question now?
My question is, what is indicated from the syntax there down there?
Okay.
It's criteria, then range 1.
No. It's criteria range 1, then comma, then you have criteria 1. So there's an underscore between the criteria and range, but it's not a comma. So it's not criteria and range 1. It's criteria range 1, then criteria 1.
Oh, okay. Good.
Is it clear now?
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Apiri, Precious, you can unmute.
Good evening, sir.
Please try to be a bit more audible. I can't hear you.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good
Can you hear
evening.
me now?
It's still very
This
low.
is my first. Okay, this is my first time in the class, though. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I think it's becoming better. You can still do better.
Okay. If you can hear me now, I just want to go back again to some if, because I was logged out during the some if, so I didn't get what you did in the some if. And I want to know the difference between the some if and some if. Like when you put S and when you don't put the S, what is the difference between the both of them? I didn't really get that part.
Okay, some if and some if. So some if you're summing, but you're summing with just one criteria. While some ifs, you're summing with multiple criteria. So like the example I did, the first one I summed, for some if, I summed just the total quantity that was bought by the total quantity of product 1 that was bought. So that is the only criteria I have there is just product one. So I just want to know the total quantity of product one that was bought. But for some ifs now, I was summing the total quantity of product one that was bought by females. And I could even go as far as adding other criteria by females from maybe a particular country or from a particular time date or whatever. So I could have as many criteria as possible. But for some, if you're summing with just one criteria, so that's the difference. Okay, Ajibola, Fumi, you can unmute. Please, when you ask question, you shouldn't mute yourself. Stay so that I can always confirm I've answered your question well. Ah, Fumi, we can barely hear you, but this thing is breaking. Hello? Ah, Fumi, sorry, we can't hear you. Your network is breaking. Okay, Martins, Fatima, you can unmute. Martins, Fatima, you can unmute. Oluwatosin. Hello, Martins, Fatima. Okay, let's move on to Daniel Shelby. Daniel Shelby, you can unmute.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Please, I want to find out that even though Sumifs and Countifs, or it seems like they are all giving us figures, what is the difference between the Sumifs and the Countifs?
Okay. Sum, you're actually adding up something. You're taking a sum of something. But for count, you're just counting how many times that thing occurred. So I want to know the number of customers I have from the USA. I can't be summing because USA is not it's not figures that I'll sum. So what I'm doing, I'll count how many customers I have from USA. So that's count. I'm counting. I'm not summing. But for some, I want to find out what's the total quantity I sold to the USA. So now I'm summing. I'm not counting. Daniel, do you understand?
Okay. Yeah, I understand very well. So if I understand you very well, sum only deals with numbers.
Yes, your sum range must always be numbers because you're summing figures.
Okay, it's clear now. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And the name is Selby, not Shelby. Selby.
Okay, Selby.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, take care. Night. Night, you can unmute. Hello, Night. Night, I said you can unmute. You're not unmuting. Night, unmute. Hello? How about Martins? Martins, are you ready? Can you unmute now? Okay, so I guess we just have to move on. They are not ready for us. I'm asking them to unmute. They are not unmuting. Okay, Olubumi Alabi, you can unmute. Yes, I'm giving you permission to unmute, Night, but you're not unmute.
Okay, hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Please, can you put your cursor on that 450, that sum if, because I've been trying it since I'm not getting it. It's saying the formula inputted. Just a brief explanation. I don't know. I was logged out about that period too. So by the time I came in, I'd missed a step. Thank you.
Okay, so my cursor is there. Can you see it now?
Okay. Okay. Product 1. Okay. Quantity. Product 1. Gender. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, welcome. So I think looking at the chart here, for me, we are asking about recording of yesterday's class. Yesterday's class has been dropped since yesterday now. It's in the group. So if you need the recording, ask in the group. Somebody will point you to it. Then for Fatima, you said how are these Countif and Sumifs? In what scenario, real life scenario, are we going to know which one to use? So if you understand the formula very well, then of course you always know which scenario to use which. So Knight, you're asking if it's possible to find total quantity of product 1 and 3 of different criteria. No, you can't do that. You have to do that differently for product 1 and then for product 3. Because when you select that range, you can only pick one criteria there. You cannot pick 2 criteria from that range. Okay, Mohammed, you can unmute. Mohammed, unmute. What's happening?
Good evening, sir.
Okay, good evening.
Sorry, I actually, from my own hand here, I've been having challenge with network, but I actually want to have a picture of what criteria and range is all about.
Criteria is what is the basis for your counting. Let's say if I'm doing a count and I'm saying, okay, exactly. The range now is where are you counting from? What is the you're counting from? So that's your range. I give it the area I'm using to make that count. But now, criteria, I'm telling you, so if you come to this place that I've set as my range, what you should count here is this. So that thing I'm telling you to make a count for, that becomes the criteria. The range is I'm showing it where it should count from. The criteria is what in that range am I interested in it counting for me. So is it clear now? For example, my criteria, my range is gender, everything under gender, but the criteria there is in this place where I have of this gender, the only thing I'm interested for you to count is just females. So anywhere not females, I'm not interested. So that's your criteria. You're telling it what you want to count inside of that range.
So, sir, please, if I'm not mistaken, the column you are dealing with is the range, right?
Yes, the column I'm selecting is my range.
The properties of the properties in that column are the criteria, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, David, you can unmute.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, good evening.
My concern is about an example where we have some ifs and now the range and the criteria. Example of product where we have H:. Yesterday when you had a class, we said we take we could take H from the colon and then example maybe 2 from the arrow. So that would be H2. Today, I see we are using H:. I think I'm kind of lost there.
I'm not picking anything from inside there. So that's the difference. I'm selecting the whole range as my range. Everything in that column is my range. Then I'm telling it what I want to count. Yes, if I want to do it the way you're saying, I could also do it that way. I think what you're trying to say is, for example, let's say maybe I'm doing Countif. I say equals to count Countif. Then my range, I'm saying everything here. And then in this range, I'm now saying the criteria count only product one for me. So instead of typing product one, I pick it here. I say count product one for me. Yes, this will still work if I don't want to type it in. But now there's a danger with this. The danger with this is Excel, in most cases, will run relatively. What if this product one I pick, there are other things under it and all of that. So if I'm doing it this way, the only way this would work would be that I would need to lock this product one, lock that cell where I have product one. Remember when we did absolute cell reference and then close this. So if I hit enter now, it's going to count the total number of products one I have here. So it's 57. So you can also pick from here. But if you pick from here, be very sure that whatever criteria you picked, you lock it down so that Excel doesn't move relatively and begins to add up other things for you. David, does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, then last but not the least, Alexandra. Alexandra, you can unmute.
Okay, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, mine is just a concern. Like, I thought I was well prepared for class. I had my table ready, having worked on my computer the whole of today. And just to realize that you are on a different table, and I didn't know you had posted a table. Is there a way you can do an alert so that we know the important messages on the platform? There's too much information flowing on the platform. Like you're referring people to go and check the previous classes that you posted. Is there a way you can give an identity to what you are putting on the platform so that somebody can quickly see what this would be considered important information so that I can quickly sort of pick out if I need to? Yeah, because I panicked a little when I saw you are posting a table and you're saying that we should have it. And I did not know you had posted the table.
Okay.
Thanks.
So please, no, you shouldn't go. So that I told you, anytime you ask a question, stay on it so that when I'm done, I'm sure your concern has been treated. So please unmute again so that let me be sure.
All right, I'm here.
So one, the thing there is that group, people would always have things posted there, different messages, comments, and all of that. But now, for things I know are very important, such as maybe class recording and stuff like that, if I post it there, most times I'll pin it. So if you always check the pinned message, you will see the important ones. But however, sometimes I don't remember to pin. Maybe any other of the admin can do that. And the things I mostly don't remember pinning is mostly our class link because I always post it close to class time. So I believe at that point, everybody is maybe checking the group. So at least expecting that. So everybody should get that. And when we talk about things being so many that I have so many groups I'm a member of, not just this class alone. But yet I don't think there's anything that happens in that group that I'm not aware of. Because from time to time, I'll just go scroll down, reading the messages and all of that. So when we say the messages are so much, how much can it be? Okay, let's even see. Maybe this week will be the worst because the assignment I'll drop, definitely so many people there will be a lot of interaction and all of that. So, but I think if you always, anytime you come into the group, even if it's more, just try and scroll down. At some point, you should know, maybe have my number or that. So when you see any information coming from me, then you should know that information was useful or is useful.
Okay. Okay, so the instruction is before class, we should always check because you could have posted something.
Exactly, that's very possible.
Okay, thank you.
Just like you had to look for the link for this class. Okay, so Engineer Sunday, you can unmute.
All right. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Thank you very much for the good job. It's just an observation. You were talking about locking the cell, and it's like I missed it in your lecture because yesterday I had to observe an all night, which I did not stay to the end of the training yesterday. Is it in the video of the training you put on our group?
Yes, that was what we did yesterday. So it's part of what we did.
Okay. Can you quickly just let me know how I can lock a cell?
So you can lock a cell.
I will go through it. I will go through your video anyway.
So
But you did something now.
Yes, you can lock a cell just using the dollar sign. So you put the dollar sign before the column and before the row.
The row. Okay.
Or you just, if your keyboard is like my own, just take your cursor and press F on your keyboard.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Selby, why is your hand raised again? I thought I had attended to you. What's the issue again? Please, fast. Let's move on. Selby, make it very brief so that we can move on.
Okay. Tell me, not bad anything. Just a follow-up to what Alessandra just commented about. If you look at the time that you posted the worksheet on the page, it's like just a 20 minutes to the class. I also suggest that if it can be like maybe an hour before, so that maybe some people can't put it on their laptops, or maybe so that it can easily do it before the time comes. So that's just a suggestion on that. Thanks very much.
Okay. But I don't think that would help, whether 20 minutes or 1 hour. Who would get it will get it, and who will still not get it will not get it. That's just the truth.
Okay.
Okay, W, please unmute. So you're the last question I'll take before we go back. W. Who is this W now? I'm still on mute.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. You spoke about the Countifs, and you moved on to, I think, count sum. Can you kindly go over the formula for the count sum briefly in a minute for me?
I didn't do count sum. I did count if and count ifs. Then I did sum if and sum ifs. There was nothing like count sum, please.
Oh, okay. Because my network was on and off, so I lost along the line.
So that is why the recording is always there. You can always go through it and take your time. That way you'll get it better.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So now let's move on. So now we are moving on to, let me see, what else do we have? We have average, then we have Averageif and Averageifs. So if anybody that has been following what we've been doing, you know that this is just in the line of what we've done. Just that now, for these ones, we are looking for a different thing. So we are looking for average. So the normal average is different from Averageif and Averageifs. So Averageif is, now I'm looking for an average, but with a condition. For Averageifs, I'm looking for average, but with multiple conditions. While the normal average is, I'm just looking for average. So the normal average, so if I say I'm average, so average normally is the arithmetic mean. So it returns the average, that's the arithmetic mean of an argument. So which can be numbers or names or arrays or references that contain numbers. So if I'm looking for average now, I say what's the average of, so I just need to give it number. So what's the average of, let me say from year to year, this place. maybe these are the numbers I'm working on. I don't want to be picking the number one after the other. So what's the average of all of these numbers that I've selected? So that is as simple as that. If I hit enter, you can see the average here. So the average is 21.4. So basically that's just average. You're looking for the arithmetic mean. But now when I'm dealing with average if, it's now a different thing. So average if now, at the level of average if, I'm still looking for the arithmetic mean, but for cells that are specified by a given condition or criteria. So now I could say maybe now if I bring average if, you can see I have range, then I have criteria, then I have my average range, just like we had in sum if, where you have the range, you have the criteria, and then you have your sum range. So it's just the same thing, but here is the average you're interested in. So let's say my range, I'm looking for this is my range, comma, then there, what am I looking for? Let's say product one is what we are interested in there. So product one is what we are interested in. And then now, what is our average range? Our average range is here. So we want to look for the average of all of our product one. So this is our average range. So the moment I close this and I hit enter, you can see this is the average for our product one. You can see it here. So we are just looking for average, but now with the condition. So it's different from the normal average. And then if I'm doing for average ifs, of course, it just shows that I have more than one criteria range. So that's just the difference. So average ifs. Now, what's my average range? In this case now, I'll start with my average range. So it's just very similar to sum if and sum ifs. Just that here, I'm not summing. I'm looking for the average. I'm not summing. So that's just the difference. So after I've given it my average range, what's my criteria range one? So the first one is maybe is product one I'm going for first. So here, the difference is just that I have multiple criteria range. So product one, comma, and then maybe I'm also interested in just the ones that belong to females. So the next one here, female. And then maybe I just want to slimline it to only those from USA also. So the next one here will be USA. So you can see these are different criteria range. And if I hit enter, you can see my answer here. It's just doing an average based on those things for me. So these ones are quite simple and straightforward. Okay, so the next thing now we'll be looking at, I think we've done this one already. Hope I'm not being too fast today. We've done sequence. We've done sequence. I believe I did sequence when I was trying to do numbering for us that time. I can still remember when I was doing numbering, I did sequence. But just for the benefit, so sequence, use it to do to number sequence. So, for example, okay, somebody is saying they didn't get the average. So average, we all know what average is. Average is I'm looking for, if I say I'm looking for the average of something, that means I'm just looking for the arithmetic mean of that thing. So now for normal average, I'm just looking for average. So I just say, okay, give me the average of this group of numbers. It will just give me average. But for average if now, I'm looking for average, but I have conditions I'm looking for. So now I'm looking for average of just my product one. The average of the total quantity or for all the quantities of product one I sold. So it's still average I'm looking for, but based on just product one. So I'm using that criteria to look for my average. Product one, the average for product one is what I'm looking for. So that's why I'm using average if. I cannot use the normal average because I have a criteria I'm looking for. Then for average ifs now, I have multiple criteria I'm using. So I'm looking for the average of all of my product one that was bought by females that were from USA. So multiple criteria now. That's why I'm using Averageifs. So I think it's quite simple. Do we get it now? Is it clear now? Or do I still need to do the example all over? Okay. So it's clear. Okay, so sequence, we did sequence in our first class. I told you if you want to do a numbering, is very simple. You can use sequence for that. So if I say equals to, and I enter the formula sequence, you can see it returns a sequence of numbers. So it's a very simple one. The first argument you have there is your rows. So how many rows do you want it? So if I want to do numbering of maybe 1 to 50, so that means I'm looking for 50 rows. 50 rows, or let me even say 100 rows. I'm looking for 100 rows. So I want to do a numbering of 1 to 100. I'm looking for 100 rows. The next thing it's going to ask me is how many columns do I want these numberings to be on? So in this case, I want it just on one column. So I'll just say one, column 1. Then the next one is asking me, where should it start from? Where should it start from? So I'll just say, okay, start from 1. Start from 1. And then how many steps should it take? Just take just one step. And then I'll close this. So if I press enter now, it's going to give me 1 to 100, starting from 1 and taking just a step of 1. A step of 1 is now after 1, the next step is 2. After 2, 3. So it's taking one step. You can see it. If I scroll down, you can see the moment it gets to 100, because I asked for 100 rows. So the moment it gets to 100, it will stop. So that is sequence. If I delete this, so let me try it in another form. So sequence. Now let me say I'm looking for 20 rows. And then how many columns? I need 2 columns. Let me use 2 columns now. Then where do I want it to start from? I want it to start from 50. And then what should be the step? I want a step of 52. So if I say start from 50 and give me a step of 50, what do you think is going to be what I will get? So what I'm going to get is, it's going to do 20 rows for me. But that 20 rows is going to start from 50. Then the next one will be 100. The next one will be 150. The next one until it gives me 20 rows. And it's going to do it in 2 different columns because I asked for 2 columns. So if I press enter here, you can see what I have. So this is 20 rows, but in 2 different columns. So I have 50 here, and then the next one, I have 100 here, and then I have 150 here, and then I have 200 here, and then I have 250 here, and then I have 300, and so on. But the total number of columns, rows here is 20 on each side, but 2 columns. So that is what it means when I say, give me 2 columns and take a step of 50 and start from 50. So you can see. So this is what sequence means when we are talking of the formula sequence. So I want to believe this is straightforward. Are we good? Are we good? Are we good up to this point? Please let me get feedback because I'm about to move on to something else. The feedbacks, I did not say question. I said, let's type yes or no. Are we good? Okay. So I think we are good. I'm getting. Okay. So I think we can move on. So the next thing I'll be doing now, yes, I had to finish up everything we are doing before I come to this part. Because this part I'm about to enter into now is the part where I don't want people to come and ask me questions. So I want to take my time, explain it, and answer all the questions here. Because if you come to my DM and ask me any question related to this assignment I want to give, please, I am not going to answer you. So please, For the fact that you were in class, I want to assume you heard it and you asked all your questions. Yeah. The assignment is a bit complex, that's why. Okay, so now this assignment I'm going to give, it is very important. Why is it important? It is important because this is what is going to answer most of our questions. Because what you'll be doing for me is going to be much, much more practical than what we've done in class. Yes, I'm going to guide us through and answer all of our questions before we start. But please, let me say this. Let's all note this. Everything I did here, Sumif, Countif, and all of that, please, the first thing I want us to notice, it is very sensitive to spellings. So when you're writing your criteria, you have to make sure this way that criteria is written is exactly the way it appears from the range you selected it from. Please, very, very important. If not, it will not work. You will just be getting zero or getting errors. So for example, in the criteria, in the range let's say I selected the range where I have gender. So there's female there. And now when I'm typing my own value, I'm now typing females, adding S. Please, Excel is not going to find that criteria inside of that range because the one in that range does not have S. It is spelling sensitive, but it is not case sensitive. So whether here is capital and in my own I'm typing small, it doesn't mean it will still give me the right thing. It is spelling sensitive, but not case sensitive. Then, where you're supposed to have a comma and you fail to put a comma, please, that formula is not going to work. That formula is going to be faulty. Please, let's take note of all of these little things so that we end up doing our assignment very well. Now, for the assignment, what I want us to do is simple. Now, everybody have this data set. So you see there's a portion here written gifts. So in this portion here, what I want you to do is this. Create a legend for me like this. When I say legend, so here I have quantity. Then here I have gifts. So create something like this for me. Quantity and then gifts. Okay. So now what again are you going to do for the quantity? In this table, we have different quantities here, but the lowest quantity here is 1 and the highest quantity here is 30. So for these quantities, group them into 6 different categories. So that means I'm going to have 1 to 5, and then I'll have 6 to 10, and then I'll have 11 to 15, and then I'll have 16 to 20, and then I'll have 21 to 25, and then I'll have 26 to 30. As you can see, everything is captured here. So for the gifts, for these people, let's say we are giving them key holder. So we are giving this one's key holder. For these ones, we are giving them hand farm. For these ones, we are giving them let's say we give them mock. We are giving this one mock. Then for these ones, we are giving them thinking of Okay, let's give these ones t-shirts. Then let's give these ones, what else? Okay. Somebody say we should, somebody say we should give these ones blender. So let's use blender. And then, yeah, let's give these ones iPhone. Just like I like iPhone. Okay. So we've come up with gifts for people from every category. Then the next thing is, we also add another one, this thing here. We call this total. We call this total. Okay. And then we just put this into a border. Okay. So now we have this. So you're to use this we've done here, and award each of these gifts to these customers based on this quantity that each of them bought. This should determine the gift each of them is going to get. Remember, I said we have 500 customers here. So the gifts, these are the gifts. Use these gifts, allocate it to every customer here based on the quantity that they bought. So these are the quantities they bought. So based on this quantity, they should receive a gift that matches that quantity. Then when you've done that, let's now know the total for each gift. So I want to know at the end, when you are done with all of this, let me know how many key holder are we going to buy? How many hand fan are we going to buy? How many mug are we going to buy? How many t-shirts are we going to buy? How many blender are we going to buy? And how many iPhone are we going to buy? So remember, when you do all of your total, the total for everything has to be 500 for it to be correct, because the total number of customers we have is 500. So when I count all of these gifts that we are buying for all the different gifts, the total for all should still give me 500. If not, your answer is wrong. This is the first one. The second one is, okay, before I move on, I want to believe I can move on. We all understand this first one, right? Okay, the second one is, this data set that you have, I want you to create two new sheets. So the first sheet here, rename it Countifs female. Then the second one, rename it, create another sheet again, and rename it Countifs male. Countifs male. Countifs male. Okay. So you can see there. Now, what I want you to do for me is to, on each of these sheets, I want you to bring in the countries here and the products here, so that I can see a tabulation of the countries and the products, the number of products that was bought by each country. I want to see a tabulation of that. So let's say here, okay, let's come here. So I want to copy the country. So I want to copy everything here. Okay, no, let me not do the assignment for us. So let's say I come here, I call this country. So you have to copy all of the countries from here and bring it to here. Now, but the difference now is when you copy those countries and you bring it here, you can see that on this sheet here, I have these countries here, but I have them appearing multiple times. But when you copy down here, I don't want any country appearing twice. So those countries will only have to appear here once. So that would mean at the end of the day, you're supposed to have a total of just 46 countries, because I know that data set very well. And the total countries we have there is 46. But we have customers from different countries. So that's why we have it appearing up to 500 there. So what am I saying? In essence, you're supposed to have just one USA, supposed to have other countries too appearing once. So Brazil once, let's say maybe Japan once too. Let's say Ghana once. Then let's say Russia once, and so on and so forth. Then on this other part, what I want you to do is enter all the products. So you have 10 different products there. So I want you to outline them for me. Product 1 down to 10. Product 1 down to 10. So product 1 down to 10. I want you to do that for me. So you can see now I have all of the different products, products 1 to 10. So you copy, you do it this way. So now the main assignment, what you have to do for each of these countries that you brought in here. Remember I said all the countries copied down here. I want to know how many, remember this current sheet, you're working on just females. So I want to know how many females, where you still repeat everything here again for the male sheet. You do it again for male. But for this one, this is female. So I want to know how many females from each of these countries bought each of these products. So let's say I'm working on product 1 now. So equals to, of course, I'm using Countifs. So this is almost like I'm doing the assignment for us. So my criteria range, I told us I can start from anywhere. So let's say I want to start from gender, since it's just female I'm working on. So gender, then what is the criteria there? So here I'm looking for female. That's my criteria, comma. So the next thing now is criteria range 2. You can see. So the next criteria range, I want to go with a product, because I'm currently looking for what's the product I'm currently working on. Product 1. So that's the current product I'm working on. So comma. Then the next one now is the country. So country, comma. So what's the country? I'm currently on USA. But now instead of typing USA or selecting it, I'll come back here and I'll just reference the country here. Why am I referencing the country here? So that it will make doing these ones easy. So if I reference my country there and I just close this and I hit enter, you can see I have 6 females from USA that bought product 1. So now if I drag this down, because I reference this, it can just do the same thing for these other countries for me, as you can see. So I'll just move to product 2 and so on and so forth. So you do this for females and then you do on a different sheet for males. After which you confirm the total for everything. So when I'm done doing all, I'll just come somewhere and do equals to sum. So I'll just do a summation of everything that I've done. Everything. And then I'll close. And then I'll close and hit enter. So currently I have just 6, 4, and 1, which is 11. So I believe by the time you finish your female sheet and you do a sum for all, it should give you the total for female, which is 281. So if it doesn't give you that 281, it means you're wrong. And by the time you finish for male and you do your sum, it should give you 219, which is the total for male. If it's not 219, it means you're wrong. So please, that is the assignment on this. I was supposed to add one more, but let me just leave it at these 2. So now, it's time for question. Which part do you understand and which part do you not understand? Let's ask questions. Okay, Meshach, you can unmute.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Okay, apart from the assignment that we have, is there a formula that you can use to group these countries without repeating themselves?
Sorry, I didn't get you. Can you come again?
Assuming you have so many countries, is there a formula that you can use to like group them? Like for instance, now we have USA, Brazil, but in our main table, we have so many USAs. Is there a formula that you can use to bring this summary here?
I don't understand. Your question is still a bit, I'm not getting it.
If you go back to our main table, the sheet, the first sheet, we have so many USAs, so many Brazils, so many Japans, and so many Ghana. Now, whatever we are bringing here is just one USA, one Ghana, one, for example, just one.
Okay, I think I get it now. You're asking if
Is
there's
there,
a way to copy down
is,
there without
is,
the duplicates coming in.
yes.
Yes, of course, there is. There's a formula. So, but I don't want to. Okay, let me even tell us. So there's a formula called unique. You can use unique to do that. So, but you need to go and check how to make use of that formula. Of course, with everything we've been doing here, by now you should know how to use any formula, because by the time you do it, and of course, it will show you a syntax on how to use it. So you can use the unique formula, and you can also use, for those that did their first assignment, that I said we should write the functions of each of these ribbon. So I believe there was somewhere you saw something. I don't want to call it, for those that did not do the assignment, so you will not know it. So there was somewhere a ribbon called remove duplicate. So for those that did the assignment, if you saw that ribbon called remove duplicate, then of course that means you can use that ribbon also. So you just need to copy it, take it there, and then use that remove duplicate. It will remove all the duplicates for you. So that's the way you can do that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Jude, you can unmute.
Okay, thank you. You just answered the question I wanted to ask. Let me lower my hand. Thank you.
Okay. Wilson, you can unmute.
Oh, greetings, everyone, and thank you, sir. I wish to know if there is a formula instead, not for removing duplicates, like you said, or for synchronizing for countries, but for grouping age groups. Let me say for grouping, like what you just did, 1 to 5, 6 to 10. There's a formula to group those. Should I say, if we are given like age group, there's a formula to put that across?
I'm lost here. I don't understand your question. So that grouping I did is just a legend to guide me on, so that I'll know each group batch with the gifts I'm giving to them. So I'm not using it on the formula. It has nothing to do with my formula. It's just there to guide me.
I got you very well. But given in a case like maybe you're dealing with a data set and you have age that is given just with just age, but you have to group them like you have just done. I was asking if there's a formula that you can use to group age, like without just designing that legend like you did.
Okay, if there is a formula like that, I think when we get there, we'll see. Or you two can check it out. But for the purpose of what we are doing, or what we did. It's just for you to do it this way so that it guides you. It's not everything that must be from a formula.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Sani Adeola, you can unmute.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Well done, sir. My own is just I need little explanation from this sheet 1, where you did the quantity, gifts,
Sani,
and
your
total.
voice is very low. I can't hear you.
Sorry. Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
But you still have to do better.
Let me increase the volume. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, better now.
Okay. Yes. I said from the box that you created for the quantity, gifts, and total. I was trying to do this thing on my own system now. When I input 1 to 5, it's taking me to date.
Yes.
So is there any way I can?
If you
Yes,
check,
is there
if you see
anything?
my own, that too, I was doing it twice. Because
Twice, okay.
if I do
Thank you.
want to, of course, Excel will convert it to date.
To
Except I
date,
have
yes.
to go and start formatting it back. So just to
Okay.
take yourself that stress, you can just do that dash twice.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Olayemi Peter. Olayemi Peter.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, thank you for the lecture so far. So my question is that when you are actually teaching us this count if and sum if, I know that you're actually doing it for only one product. So my question is that for to have the average to calculate for average if, is it possible for us to get average if for 2 products at the same time in what you are doing, sir?
That's what I'm telling you. In as much as you can only pick one criteria per time. So that means you cannot get for 2 products. Because when I pick products, I need to tell it what I'm looking for there in that range. So there's no way I can tell it I'm looking for product 3 and I'm looking for product 5. That doesn't work. The formula does not accommodate that.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I want to find out. But maybe it's possible or not. But since it's not possible, so I agree with you.
Okay. Okay, that's the last question. There's no other question here. So I want to believe it's clear. Everybody has gotten it. Okay, so please let's do it and submit on or before midnight on Wednesday. Please, this time around, let's try not to be victims of, this thing is not good. Please, nobody should send assignment to me on WhatsApp. Please use the link. If your Google Chrome or your Google this thing has issue, try and fix it or transfer it to a different device and upload it. Please don't send assignment to me on my WhatsApp. If not, you will not see your name on the list of people that did the assignment. Please use the link that will be dropped for the, so I'll drop a different link for this very assignment. In short, I will create that link this night and I'll drop it this night along with the recording of this class. So please, let's do the assignment. Let's submit before midnight on Wednesday. By 12 midnight on Wednesday, the link will become inactive. And please note, 12 Nigerian time, 12 midnight Nigerian time. Before some people will tell me it's not yet 12 in Ghana. Please, 12 midnight Nigerian time. Okay, Engineer Sunday. Your question?
So well done, boss. This assignment, I think there should be a way of posting this assignment for us to know, what the assignment is all about and when to submit it. I think it should be in a written form.
If
so that it doesn't skip our mind.
If somebody here that understood me very well is kind enough to type it in the group, fine. But if not, I don't usually type the assignment. So you that is in class, that's one benefit. You heard me saying it and doing the example and everything. So every other person, if they need to have that benefit, they should go and watch the replay. But for the typing, no, I don't usually
It's
do that.
okay. Just for emphasis, please, can you go through this assignment again so that I will know clearly what you are asking of us?
Okay, no problem. Maybe I'll do that once again before, especially the first one. I think the second one is clear. Maybe some people are having issues with the first one. Okay. Samson, your hand is up. You can unmute.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir, and good evening, everyone. Actually, I didn't join the class on time because something came up which I need to attend to. So I believe if I go through the replay, as in, I will understand and able to do the assignment. Also, I am pleading for something, because the date that you say we should submit the assignments, and that day, it will not. Because the place I'm working is a shift work, and that very Wednesday, I'm not sure it will be very possible. I don't know if you can give me grace. It's just a grace.
You can submit tomorrow or Monday now. You must not wait till
yes, then tomorrow I'm not at home. Before I will get back home, it will be on Thursday. And I'm not with my system, I'm with just my phone. And it's not something I can do on phone.
Honestly, I don't have an answer to that, because Wednesday I also need to go through the assignment to see what was done. So if I should extend it more than that, then what time am I going to use to go through them and also record those that did it well and all of that? So
That's why I said if I can just just grace, because that way because I want to do the assignments. I really want to do it.
I'm very sorry. Wednesday is the deadline. These are even personal issues. It has nothing to do with this thing here. So if you have issues like that, it pays you more to reach out to me personally than.
Okay, sir. I'll.
Okay, Militus.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Thank you for the lecture so far. Please, there is something I just wanted to see. That place you did the total of female, that sheet, how you were referencing it, please. I just wanted you to put the cursor on B2. Let me check something. A second.
I should put my cursor on B2.
On that, the assignment.
You want to copy my formula?
No, sir. Let me just check that sheet, how you referenced it, please. Just a second.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Are you seeing it?
Yes.
Okay. So let me go over the first assignment again before we close. Okay. So that was on this sheet. So what I said we should do here, I said create this legend. When you create it this way, use it and allocate these gifts to these customers. So that means every customer here is entitled to a gift. Now, the gifts will be based on the quantity they bought. And this quantity, you've grouped them into 6 different categories, 1 to 5. So that means anybody that bought quantity 1 to 5, when I check here, the gift they should get is key holder. Anybody that bought between 6 to 10, if I check here, the gifts they should have is hand fan, and so on and so forth. So you give, that means everybody here would have a gift. And at the end of the day, you now using also a formula we've done in class, you should be able to determine the total for each of these gifts so that we can now know how many of these gifts are we buying. And I said the total for each of these gifts, when you total all of them, it should all sum up to 500. That's the only way you know you've done the correct thing, because you have 500 customers here and each one is getting one gift. So when you begin to look at the total of each of these gifts that each of them is getting, the total for all should still sum up to 500. That was just the assignment. So it's just things we've done in class, just using another scenario to do it so that we can understand it better. So I want to believe it's very clear now. Okay, so with that, we've come to the end of today's class. So until Wednesday, where I'm expecting everyone to submit the assignment. Please submit on time. Please, I'm begging. Submit your assignment on time. Very, very important. Do not be one of those people that will come to my DM and you're begging for extension. You may not be lucky. I may not oblige you. Okay. Thank you very much and good night to everyone. Everyone, you all have a wonderful weekend. Good night.